in your words, your background and what kind of, led you to working here in Los Angeles?
Sure. Well, thank you for that. And I really do appreciate the opportunity. Um, Being trapped in the house for 7 months, I feel like I have a lot to say. And a lot of recent experiences that I think everybody can learn from. My Reader's Digest, elevator speech would be that I have a mom who is in single family home sales, but she worked for developers. So she didn't sell one house at a time. She sold 20 or 30. And I didn't really have babysitters when I was little. I got dragged around to architect's office, contractors' offices, construction sites, etc. Wanted to be an architect. I have a master's in architecture from Tulane University. I then, surprising everybody, passed the Maryland licensing exam on the first shot. When it was the old version, when you actually had to draw for 12 hours on one of the days.
Oh, wow.
That led me to actually starting my own design build company when I was 26, working on a 35,000 square foot home in Bethesda, Maryland. That was my first client. And otherwise was turning 4,000 square foot homes into 8,000 square foot homes, and working kind of as an owner's rep in that regard. One of the lenders on the big project I was working on was like, you're doing this big house. What are you going to do next? You got to get into development. You got to get into, $600 million buildings. I didn't even know what he was talking about. I really had no idea what the commercial development world truly was. I looked into advanced degrees. I earned a master's in real estate finance from Johns Hopkins thereafter. Spent some time at the recommendation of a mentor of mine to work for an investment bank, which I did. I worked for Friedman Billings Ramsey in Roslyn, Virginia for a couple of years as a REIT analyst to really learn how money moved in the capital markets, how it landed in real estate deals, whether public companies, private ventures, et cetera. And that led to my first opportunity to work for a development company, the Kempfer Company, which merged into Charles E. Smith in the DC area, which eventually I've just kind of stepped up in role and responsibility from working for Washington Real Estate Investment Trust, where I had a great experience there, to a small private boutique firm in Bethesda, Maryland, where we worked on a 12.5 acre, $320 million public-private partnership, the Rockville Town Square, which had 644 condos and 180,000 square feet of retail and a huge acre town square in the center with a new public library, et cetera. It was a great 6-year-long project, but delivered into the recession.
Oh,
so that was the real huge learning curve. During that, we were working on projects with, I've worked with the Blackstones, the Carlyle Groups, GE Capital, et cetera. I've had wonderful experiences, but also got to work with CIM Group on a project in Bethesda, and they actually were part of the purchaser on Rockville Town Square. So at the end of the recession, after spending a little time doing some leasing with some of my bosses that I had during graduate school, I got an opportunity to interview at CIM Group on the West Coast because they needed a new VP of development as they were expanding their division coming out of the recession. I loved the opportunity and jumped at the chance to come to California, and they gave me a wonderful opportunity. I was there for 3.5 years. And John, I had my kids on the East Coast at the time because I moved out here by myself to get the lay of the land, and just all the traveling I did with CIM, towers in Chicago, projects in Florida, North Carolina, working in the DC area, working in California, worked on a big, huge high rise in Hollywood, Sunset Gordon, which I will talk about later, perhaps. I just kept landing at night, seeing all these twinkle lights going off in the horizon. And I figured, someone else out there, as I was getting older, having had my own company before, thought that might be a great idea. Went in to start my own development management company. It was towards the end of the year. My attorney is like, look, if you go into business right now, you're going to pay a whole bunch of fees. Why don't we just wait till January so you pay them once, or else that would be foolish. So during that interim, I got a call from a headhunter who was working representing CityView, which is run by Sean Burton here, and was founded by Henry Cisneros, who was the HUD secretary for Bill Clinton. So being that I'm from the DC area, I knew that name pretty well. and met with all the principals there, and they just seemed like a bunch of great guys and gals. And so I postponed starting my company, and I was there for 3.5 years, and again had just got great experience, great exposure. Really got me grounded in Los Angeles itself,
Mm.
working on a bunch of projects locally, really from San Francisco to San Diego, but a number of endeavors we had locally, and had great experience there. But as we started winding things up, yeah, I just felt, looking at the horizon, it's time to stick my toe in the water. So since 2018, I've been working for myself, and I currently represent a family downtown for a project at 14th and Hill, where
Mhm.
we're building 235 apartments over some ground floor retail, stick over podium, pretty typical in today's, deals that pencil, quote unquote, zone. And that's going really well. My client has been doing a phenomenal job holding all the financing's feet to the fire, and we should be closing, actually, knock wood, the end of the month, beginning of next month, and we should finally be under construction in November.
Congrats on that.
Okay.
So I know
Yeah,
you,
I'm very, very excited. We can
yeah.
maybe dive more into that, because I think there are some applicable lessons learned there that I think everybody might appreciate.